I didn't just drop the job, something followed me out of the job. If someone is doing something to you and you do not feel happy with it, it's good enough for you to approach the person, tell the person, I am not happy with this. Or life before marriage, you must be alive to be married.
That's true.
You cannot be dead and be married. As long as the devil is on earth, there will always be the children of the devil who would behave this way.
Okay.
And they can come in different ways. Fear is part of it, because when the tension begins to build up, then fear begins to build up.
Today we are addressing a topic that impacts millions globally, yet is frequently misunderstood. Why victims of domestic abuse do not just leave. Welcome to Wisdom for Exploit. I am your host, Bola Amori. A domestic abuse is something that is really, is something that has been going on for a while now. So today I have an amazing pastor with me. Her name is Pastor Lizzie Kingsley. She is a wife, a mother, author, a teacher of God's words, and a domestic specialist. Welcome, Pastor Lizzie, to this wonderful talk show. How are you faring, ma?
Thank you very much, Pastor Bola. Thank you for inviting me here. It's a privilege to be here, and I really give thanks to God for being here. So thank you very much. Yeah.
You're welcome, ma. So together we're going to be exploring why victims of domestic abuse do not just leave. So our viewer, before we continue, do not forget to subscribe to this channel and click the notification bell to be notified whenever we upload new video. And also like and comment. Thank you. Pastor Lizzie, my introduction question. What inspired you, ma, to be an advocate for domestic violence? Was this something you were genuinely interested in? Or is something that is trending and you play along?
Thank you very much for that question. That's a question I hear from time to time. So, so I hear, it's a question people ask me from time to time. But I would say there's nothing about trend in it. I am not the type that follows trend. I don't even know what is trending. So if I thought I understand trending, probably in the music, when people release music, that's when I can understand trending. Apart from that, I don't know what is trending. So coming back to this one, I started this sometimes around 2008. So it's been quite a while. The only thing is just that it takes a long time for God to make something visible. It takes a while to bring something to the open. And I think God allows that for you to get yourself ready and prepare in mind, so that when you are asking questions or when you are answering questions, you know what you are saying. It's not at the stage when you are new and you are still thinking what it is, you don't even know what you are talking. So there was a time that I did not know so much about what we're discussing now, but yet I stepped into it. Yeah. So I came across it at work, really. So I was working as a housing manager in one of the boroughs, and that is where I came across it. And when I came across it at that time, I didn't really understand it, and my boss didn't even understand it as well. So what he just did was ask me to go and read about it, and that's how I got to actually, just know exactly what domestic abuse is. I didn't know anything about it. However, when I was leaving the job, what I did not realize on time was that the passion for that was also going with me.
Wow.
So I didn't just drop the job. Something followed me out of the job. And this is how far God has brought it. And I always say to people when they ask me, like, hey, what is the future? I tell them, I don't know the future of this, because it is God that brought me in here. I don't know how much God wants it to go. So I just step into opportunities when I see them. For example, I'm here now. not because I told you I wanted to come. I just stepped into the opportunity that God provided through you. And that is the way, that is how it has always been. Yeah.
Thank you very much, man. Thank you very much for that. Also, you are an executive pastor of one of the Redeemed Christian Church of God branch, City of David. So could you please tell me the journey of your faith?
That's a big one now. The journey, the journey of my faith. I got born again when I was young, when I was quite younger. I would say I got born again a couple of times, but there was a final time, you understand?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I was brought up as a Baptist child. So I grew up in the Baptist. I actually passed through the stages of, Sunbeam, Girls Auxiliary, Lydia in the Baptist.
Wow.
So, yeah, but I didn't finish the Lydia group because I went to uni. So I was in uni, and by the time I was coming back, I didn't really stay at home too much any longer. So I didn't complete, that. But I was there for Sunbeam, I was there for Girls Auxiliary, and we were always sent to the camp for 7 consecutive years. We were studying the Bible, memorizing Bible, doing graduation from one stage to the other, because the Baptist has a very good program for teenagers, and I passed through it. So, and when I became a born again Christian, I was at Babawali
Okay.
in Ibadan. Yeah. So that's where I actually settled down to Christianity. That's where I got really, really born again. And then I moved from Ibadan to Lagos. And in Lagos, I joined the Redeemed Christian Church of God. Before then, I met my husband as well. So, yeah, we got married, and this is the journey.
That is the journey.
And this is the journey, the journey of faith. Yeah, this is just the journey. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, let me say, I got married to a pastor because my husband was already a pastor before we got married.
Okay.
So I met him as a pastor. So from marriage, I had already gone into ministry as soon as I stepped, even before I stepped into marriage, because we were already pastoring a church before we got married.
Wow.
Yeah.
That means God has already prepared you ahead of the time.
I don't know about that, but I just know.
Or were you thinking you're going to marry a pastor at some point? Were you thinking that, okay, maybe one day I'm going to marry a pastor? Because, sometimes people, when they're in school, or let me say when they're in uni, they'll say, I don't want to marry a pastor because of what they've been seeing, in those days, the way they will say pastor, they used to suffer, they don't work, they focus on the flocks. So some people will say, no, I don't want to marry a pastor. I've seen my parent being a pastor. I don't want to marry a pastor. Is that your own case?
No, that's not the case. I got married to a pastor at a time when people were not really ready to do it. So for me, it wasn't about he being a pastor or not being a pastor. Mine was more about my focus on God. Okay. So mine was about listening to God. I don't know what people do now. I don't really understand it, but in our own, when we were young, at our time, what we were doing was to listen to God. You listen to God to choose your partner.
Yeah.
They have taught us how to listen very well. So that you are not, when you are hearing A, you are not saying B. You understand? So where I grew up in sort of the spirit ministries with Daddy Wale Uke. And in that church, they really taught us how to listen to God. Wow. So they taught us to depend on God. They taught us to depend on the word of God. We read the word of God. We memorized lots of scriptures. We were taught on how to listen to the Holy Spirit. So I would say I had that background. And that is what we use. Until now, even if I'm going to counsel people, I will still tell them, if you can listen to God, if you can learn to listen properly, not the one that there's no peace and you will say you you have peace of mind, not
Right.
that one. The one that you will be sure, even when you are not sure, you will ask God, talk to me in the language that I understand.
And
So those were the period where we understood. I don't now. There's dating. There's this. There's that. So
I
there's
hear you. I hear you,
there's
Pastor.
opening your eyes very well. There's this. There's that. So at our time, it wasn't like that. It was more about God.
God, yeah.
Yes, this
God factor.
God factor. That is what they taught us. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for expatiating that. Thank you so much. Okay, today we're looking at why victims of domestic violence do not just leave. And our question is, why don't they just leave? It's a question many ask though. And what makes this question so complicated?
Okay. Thank you very much. I think we need to actually look at what is domestic abuse.
Yeah.
Well, so that we are able to see why people are not leaving.
Okay.
So, what is domestic abuse? So, I'll make it very simple. It's a pattern of abusive behaviors, like when the behavior begins to have a pattern in any relationship, and the behavior is used by one partner or a family member to control or to gain power over another, over the second partner, or over another intimate partner or family member.
Yeah.
So, do you understand that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think that's quite explanatory. So, because it's good for us, to leave terminologies behind and let's talk in simple languages that people can understand us.
Very true.
Yeah. So that is what domestic abuse is. So if we are now going to talk about why people don't just leave, we need to also remember the effect of this abuse on people. So when we look at the effect of abuse on people, then it makes us to justify whether they need to leave or they don't have to leave.
Okay.
So if we look at it, we're talking about effect of abuse. I'm not going to say everything, but there are two of them that I always want us to look at, and that is the psychological effect and the emotional effect of any abuse, of any form of abuse. We have different types. We have the physical violence, we have verbal, we have sexual, we have economic or financial, so we have stalking. So we have all of those. However, in all of them, apart from physical injuries, there are some effects that are not very visible to people. And that is the psychological effect and the emotional effect. The psychological effect is the one that affects a person's mind or mental well-being. So, which means if the effect of abuse is creating mental health effect on a person.
Okay.
The second one is emotional effect. So the emotional effect is when the pattern of behavior is creating negative causes to your emotions or to the well-being of the partner. So if we have to look at all of these two alone, they are enough reasons to make anyone to leave. And the reason why I'm saying this is I have come across people who have been affected mentally. So when you now see someone who has been affected mentally, it becomes very difficult for you to say they should not leave. It becomes very difficult for you to tell people not to leave. Because when something begins to affect the mental well-being of someone, then there's a decline in the life of that person. So when there's a decline in the life of that person, it means the person will not be able to function very well anymore. And if care is not taken, it may lead to mental illness. So when you look at all of these, you may want to ask, is it okay to leave or it's not okay to leave? And the question I also often hear from people is, when is the right time to leave?
Okay.
Maybe I should just keep that question aside now, and then we begin to look at other areas of abuse before we get to when is it time for people to leave. There's also something we call the cycle of abuse,
Okay.
which makes people not to want to leave. Because of the cycle of abuse, you will find people, they don't want to leave. Yeah, it's because of that they want. So the cycle kind of explains why they don't want to leave, or why they find it difficult to leave. So the cycle of abuse, I would say the cycle has 4 or 5 stages.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and the first one, I would say the first episode. So, and that's when there's a when there are behaviors begins to show, and the person begins to wonder, the partner begins to wonder what is really going on, you know. So I've heard of a couple who on their first day they slapped themselves.
Wow.
Yeah. So I've heard of, there are different stories all around. There are so many. The ones you are hearing are probably the ones that are actually very grievous, that is leading to, something else. However, there are more there in the atmosphere. There are so many of them, different kinds of things. And at this stage, I have come to a conclusion, personal now. This is a personal conclusion, that as long as the devil is on earth, there will always be the children of the devil who would behave this way.
Okay.
And they can come in different ways. They can be in the church. They can be anywhere. They can be anywhere. Bible makes us to understand, for example, that when the children of God were with God, the devil also came in. Yeah, so you would find them in the church. So I have come to that conclusion that as long as the devil is on earth, he will plant this thing in the heart of people. So, yeah. So when we look at this cycle, we could see, that first episode, we also have a stage that they call tension building. And this, is when this begins to really, really show. And there are examples when you begin to see silent treatment. Now people are talking a lot about silent treatment. Before, people were quite quiet about it. And silent treatment is also malice. Silent treatment and malice, they are different from when someone says, I need some time off. In a relationship, somebody could say he or she needs some time off in the sense that just withdraw for a short period. It's not something that will take long. But when it begins to take so long and is affecting the other person's mental health, then it becomes a problem. And in a relationship, you are not meant to have things like this. So, yeah. So when you begin to have silent treatment, you begin to have emotional outburst, when there's a show of anger and frustration in different ways, when the partner begins to get very irritable and he becomes very frustrated, when something would happen and we'll always say the partner is the cause of it, always accusing the partner that is the cause of something. When there is jealousy in the atmosphere, jealous of the spouse's achievements, jealous of interactions with others, jealous of just jealous, just
Yeah,
jealous.
Pastor, before we go ahead, you know the tension building. What about some people whereby all this they are not seeing all this sign.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but just one money, the partner just just rise up from the bed, I don't know, and he said, I hate you. You know, some people it start like that. Because I heard the lady story. He said this marriage was good, the guy was so gentle, but one morning he just look at her and said, I hate you.
Yeah. So for people like that, you want to
Yeah.
check. You want to check whether the person is not undergoing mental health issues, because mental health is also another cause, could be a cause. And if the second partner does not know on time, so that kind of a case that there's nothing, they
No
were
sign.
good and the person just woke up in the morning. So you want to check very well. So that's one thing to check to be sure there's no mental health problem in this. Because there's no way, except it's been building up in his mind and is not talking out. So the day the outburst is coming is the day the outburst is coming.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So definitely, there's no way that will happen without being in the person's mind. So this other person, the spouse does not know that the husband or the other partner is already thinking about those negative things. She may think is nothing is going on, but there's no way to not go on because it is in the mind. The mouth speaks out what the mind
He's thinking.
has already. Yes.
Absorb, yeah.
Yeah. So if it's not in his mind, he wouldn't say it out. It's been in his mind. So
Okay.
yeah.
How does fear affect a person's ability to leave an abusive partner?
Fear. Fear is part of the cycle of abuse. Yeah, fear is part of it because when the tension begins to build up,
Yeah.
then fear begins to build up. As fear is also building up, it means this person or the victim will begin to walk on eggshell,
Yeah.
will
Okay.
begin to get afraid of everything. She doesn't want to do anything that will cause this person to be angry. So she doesn't want to do anything that will cause this person to behave in a certain, way. She knows that this is the way this person is, and so she tries her best to avoid it. So because of that, fear begins to grow, you know, little by little inside of her. By the time they shouted, the outburst comes frequently, then the fear is much. And that is why I said before that let's leave when people should leave. Let's leave it aside because it's not something that comes just like that. It grows. It grows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember when we first started this discussion, you mentioned physical and emotional abuse. So can emotional abuse make it difficult for someone to recognize that they are being abused, and how?
Okay. Thank you very much for that question.
Thank you.
The abuse is such a subtle thing. It doesn't just come in a way that the other party will probably give a slap or something. No, 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 no. There are different types of, the way these things happen. And the
Yeah.
way it happens in one place does not mean it will happen the same way in another place. So there are different, types of ways. When abuse is very subtle in the sense that the cycle of abuse makes us to understand how things work and why it becomes difficult for people to live. And that is what I was trying to explain to you. Because when the tension begins to build up, there's also the part where incidents begin to happen.
Okay.
Violence begins to go on and it becomes very frequent. That's another stage. And then there's a stage of reconciliation when the man will apologize. So when the man apologized, obviously the spouse would feel like, oh, everything is normal, everything is okay. And then, she begins to feel a connection to the man again. And then after that one, after the reconciliation stage, they move to the honeymoon stage again. When, an honeymoon comes, for a while, and then the thing starts again. So those 5 stages, it's a cycle. So when it comes and goes, comes and goes, comes and goes, reconciliation here and then reconciliation there, and little by little, years begin to go on, years
Mm,
begin to move on, you know. So, and there are different things that also come. There are different things that we need to look at, and that is how the victim also begins to feel.
okay.
Yeah. So, I'm not sure if you want to ask any question now before I go into that one.
How the victim role. Okay, you can go into that one because the next one I'm thinking of now is about the finance, the
Okay.
financial roles dependency.
Okay. Yeah. So in this one, I'm also going to explain that one there. So, and that is why it now becomes difficult for them to leave. Well, one of the major things you see from every victim is isolation.
Yeah.
They isolate them from families and friends.
Mm.
So when you begin to see someone who doesn't want to mix at all, is a sign. Yeah, it
That,
doesn't mean everybody who doesn't. There are people who are, what do we call them now? Who are introverts.
yeah.
So I am an introvert, for example, and I'm very aware of myself. I am very, very aware. I'm very, very aware. So, but one of the main things that you see in people is they isolate them. They don't want them to play with families, friends, and the
Mm.
reason is that so that they don't begin to tell people what
So
they are
what they're going
experiencing.
to experience
So
the
that's
work.
why the isolation is there. So, and then people do not, when they can't talk to people, it becomes difficult because there are times that the living a form of relationship, it takes a lot on the women,
Mm.
especially when women have stayed there for a very long time. They have sown their time, they have sown, they've sown time, they've sown energy, they've sown money into the relationship. So
Mm.
it becomes very difficult to just throw it out.
Sure.
Yeah, it becomes, and when children are also involved,
Oh,
it
yeah.
becomes very, very difficult to just throw it out. There are some people, they don't even want their children to know what they're going through. And for some people, the children are even aware. The
Mm.
children are aware. Yeah. So, and why do people do not want to leave? You mentioned economic factor, and I'm telling you the truth, that is one major one. A
Mm.
lot of people are afraid of, when they say fear of the unknown,
No economic factor.
especially if they are not earning so much, if they are not earning enough money, where they
Mm.
begin to think, where do they go? Where do they carry the children to? How do they feed the children? How do they feed themselves? Especially when the man is the only income earner.
Yeah.
So how do they feed themselves? How do they feed the children? Clothing. So there are so many things to think about. For example, the country where we come from, they always say that two hands are better than one. You know,
Yeah.
yeah. And even in a country like UK, you would want to imagine that it's good for people to look after the family than one person. For example, when one person is at work, the other person can take care of the children. When one person is with the children, the other person can, go to work. So there are so many things that are associated with economic reasons. So some people don't want to leave at all. Yeah, mostly because of money. They don't know what will happen to them. So they don't know housing is there. How do they pay for housing? How do they pay for many amenities? So it's not like an easy thing for them to just jump out. However, there are so many information out there for people who wants to learn, how to how to be, let me say, how to manage themselves economically. So there are different helps. I would say if anyone wants to leave and they think, oh, this is so much for them, or they need to leave, safety plan is important, and they can approach domestic abuse agencies in their borough. So when they go there, they will tell them what to do.
Okay, thank you. What about spouses that are financially buoyant and they are still stuck in that relationship?
Yeah, thank you for that question, because it's really true that some people, they have good jobs.
Yeah.
And yeah, let me give you an example of a lady that approached me some time ago. She had a very good job, a high flying job. However, she was stuck, or she felt she was stuck. So, but what the man did was to ask her to drop her job.
Oh dear, I think I've had something
The
like
high
that.
flying job. Yes. And she dropped the job.
Oh.
Yeah, she did. Yes, she did. So by the time she came to me, it was it was a pastor that actually asked her to come to, signposted her to me. And by the time she came, the job had gone. She left the job. And she told me that because of that, that's why she is, she doesn't know what to do. So, but I actually told her to go and get her job back. I said, please go and look for that job. That job you dropped, because the truth is, the fact that she has dropped the job does not mean the man will be appeased.
Yes.
No, 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 no. That one, the peace will just be for a little while. The man will find something else, and the thing will still continue. Because a domestic abuser will always be an abuser. No matter what the partner is doing or done, this perpetrator, this abuser will never be satisfied. There's nothing that satisfies them. So I asked her to go and get the job. And then after that, I lost contact with her for a while, or she wasn't talking to me, because she even told me then that she's afraid it was getting to Christmas. And, for some reason, anyway, we couldn't just. And then she called back again. She called me back and she said, thank you. She said, would you believe that she was able to get that same job that she dropped?
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was really happy for her, because it looks like God kept the job for her. Yeah, so she said she was back on the job. So I told her where she could go. Where she was then was quite far away from me. So I told her agencies that she could approach where they would help her. So there are people like that who really have good jobs, and the partner is still treating them this way.
This way.
So there are sometimes when you hear on social media, they can tell you, oh, someone is earning 100,000 and is asking the wife earning 700,000 to drop a job. All those kind of things. So yeah, so it happens to people who also have good jobs. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. So why do some victims continue to love or care about partner who is hurting them?
Okay. Thank you very much for that. And I'm going to be very I will try to explain this the way I think it is.
Practically, explain it.
I'll just try to explain it. There are, let me say, there's a victim who is into prostitution,
Okay.
and the man is using her to make the money.
Oh dear.
So she found it very difficult to leave because that was making money. And she did not even know how to leave. So there are different kinds of things that happen. Do you understand what I'm saying now? Yeah. So there are different things why people do not want to leave. There are so many things. For some people, it's about shame and guilt. So the man can threaten that if you leave, she's going to release her pictures, nude pictures on social media, this, and that. So there are so many things that make
But
people, and
if they are couples, will they do that? Is
if
it
they are
gonna
couples,
if they are couples, is the husband or the wife gonna say, "I'm gonna release your nude picture on social media"?
when we say couples also in the world, when I say in the world, I mean general world has a definition. There
The
are some
husband and wife. I
couples,
mean,
husband and wife. I think
yeah.
you're limiting your let me say sphere to Christendom.
No, is the discussion is both for Christian and the secular world.
I
But what I'm
understand.
trying to say is that if somebody is saying, except those ones that are just doing boyfriend and girlfriend, and it's now threatening them that I'm going to release you. But I'm looking at it now. What if is a marriage, a proper marriage now, with the husband start threatening the wife that I'm going to release your nude?
Yeah, thank you very much. Remember that when we were talking about this, when we started, we were talking about intimate relationship.
Okay.
So we even have people who are Christians, they are not married and they're living together.
Yeah, true.
And when they even enter the church, they will not tell you whether they actually got married or did not get married. So once you see them appear in the church, you automatically feel they are married.
Okay, true.
Because that's the name some people will give you. So yeah, once they say that there's nothing, you're not going to ask anyone to bring their marriage certificate. Yeah. So that's why I said you have to think very wide. You have to think very wide. Now, when we talk about husband and wife, if a husband has actually asked a wife to do this, for the wife to have agreed in the first instance, there must have been a form of communication in between the two of them that we don't know. So if the man is now threatening to do this, it means there are more things that we don't know.
Yeah.
It means there are more that we don't know. So we can only know what they have passed, the message they have passed on to us. Yeah. So in all, what I'm just saying is that there are different forms, there are different things that happen in different worlds of people. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. So how does an abuser typically control or manipulate a victim over time?
Okay, thank you very much for that. For the abuser, it's about power and control.
Sure.
Power and control. And that is what they normally use in different ways to intimidate and humiliate their partner. And that is just the summary of what they use. Yeah, it's about power and control. And they use different forms to gain that power and control over the victim.
Wow. Okay, what are some warning signs that a person may be in an abusive relationship, even if they don't talk about it openly?
Okay, thank you very much for that. The first one is withdrawal.
Yeah.
You could see someone withdrawing. It could even be someone who is very vocal before, or who likes to talk, and then you begin to see the person withdrawing. And it might be someone you don't even know, but you just see this person is isolated, like doesn't want to talk to anybody, is the fear of the other party that is keeping him or her that way. So that's a good sign. Another sign is you see injuries on the person. So when you see injuries and you're seeing somebody using glasses or shades to cover the injuries, that is another one. And they will tell you different stories. They can tell you they dropped from the staircase, the wardrobe door wounded them, they will say different things. But the good
Mm.
thing is that doctors have been taught on how to recognize these signs. So when they go to the GP knows immediately what is going on with them. And they
Mm.
try to use their own system to find out what is going on with them.
Wow.
Mhm.
Yeah, because they are hiding under the canopy.
Yeah, they know they're
Yeah,
just.
I think they are trying to not really hide. They are trying to protect the other person
Mm-hmm.
because they're thinking that, oh, he's gonna change, he's gonna do this. So yeah.
Yeah, that's one. And another thing really is not having permanent residence in the UK is
Mm.
also another reason why people are not living on time. When they don't
Mm.
have papers to work, and probably it's only the man that has papers to work, they are
Mm.
stuck somehow. Some stay there until they're able to get their papers and they run away.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, no. What about people that are not living in the Western world
Mm-hmm.
and they're just living in the third world, and they're having this issue of abuse?
Yeah, there are so many people that are, let me say, in Nigeria, for example, they're living and they're experiencing it and they don't know how to live. We hear now that social media is very,
Yes.
yeah, so we hear a lot of stories more than before. Before, no one was really hearing any story, but now there are so many stories that are coming up, so yeah, in any country, this thing is not about country, this is like
Yeah.
everywhere.
No,
It's
but
very, very, yeah, is very, very general. It can happen can happen in the church, it happens anywhere. As long as you find an abuser, it will happen anywhere.
okay, Pastor. What about if it's someone that, let's forget about maybe his husband and wife now or in the family. What
Mm.
about in the church environment? A pastor abusing, let's you not necessarily sexual abuse, verbal. Some pastor they abuse people verbally, and the people still, I mean, maybe the person is still saying that, okay, because, oh, I love this church, I just want to come, and the person is really halting, but they can't confront the leader. How can they deal with it?
Okay, thank you very much for that.
You're
If
welcome.
there are different things that hurt people, and the
Mm.
person that is hurting someone may not be aware.
Okay.
So if it's something verbal, for example,
Mm.
and the pastor is not aware,
Mm.
then there's no way you can ask the person to stop when the person is not even aware, and the aim may not even be that. So it is good enough for that person that feels hurt to approach the pastor and speak to the pastor and say, I am not okay with this. You understand? So, and then, but if the person now corrects the pastor and the pastor is not changing, that is when you begin to draw your line. So I don't know what it could be, but I'm just talking generally now. And this can happen between people, between friends, and can happen between friends, between sisters, between brothers, between husband and wife. So if someone is doing something to you and you do not feel happy with it, it's good enough for you to approach the person, tell the person, I am not happy with this, or this is the way this makes me feel, or this is the impression I have when you say this. Automatically, we expect that person to stop. So if the person does not stop, that's when it becomes, something. Yeah, that's when it becomes an issue. Yeah.
Okay. That's a good one. What should family members, friends, and church leaders do when they suspect someone is experiencing domestic abuse?
Yeah, very good. Thank you for that question. I really think this is the time for everyone, every pastor's wife, every leader to be an advocate of domestic abuse. So yeah, this at least a lot of people, they understand it now. There was a time people did not understand this thing very well, but now a lot of people understand it. So this is the time. And when you suspect someone is going through this, you can approach the person. You can meet a leader in the church. You can be, if the pastor is very conversant with this topic, or the pastor's wife understands it very well, one of them can approach the person, so because of intimidation, humiliation, and all of that, so they can just give a signal to the pastor's wife to say, I noticed this, please can you make inquiry into this.
Before you go on, pastor, some pastor, even their wife cannot approach them. That we've had stories whereby some pastor, they are like lion of the tribe of Judah. Even though they are not lion of the tribe of their house, let me put it that way, because lion of the tribe of Judah is our Lord Jesus Christ. Some pastors, even some pastors, where they are going through abuse already, and because they are not voicing that, they just put the sunshade and go to church and make, Pastor Mrs. is looking good, but deep down the woman is going through abuse in her own house. So how can such wife now approach the pastor that is now doing such thing to other people?
In every church, there are different things they expect churches to do now.
Yeah.
They expect every church to have a safeguarding department.
Yeah, sure.
However, it can be very difficult for people in the safeguarding department to even meet someone and ask the person, are you going through abuse? So it's a bit difficult for people to ask. So what they can do is to approach a church leader. Now, a lot of pastors and pastors' wives are being trained, at least they've listened to so many things. It's not like before. Before, it was like no-go area for the church. The church was not even willing to engage in anything domestic abuse before. But now it is very different. There is more enlightenment on this issue now. So, and that is why I said, pastor's wife and pastors, they can approach people. When someone makes a whistleblower and tells you a church member seems to be undergoing something, please look into this. And then you can call the person and begin to ask the person questions. So I believe the pastor or the pastor's wife would know how to draw questions from that person so that at least they are able to support them. Because you can't just suspect people. You need to be sure. So to be sure, you need the person to also and if the person is not saying anything, you can go visit them in the house. You understand? So there are different ways that pastors can do it and get information out before the other person is killed. I always say, run to help people because that could be the last time you even see them.
It's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. So run to help people. Once you notice something, talk to the person that is able, to dig into the matter, and because you never can say.
Okay.
If you notice, if there's any pastor who is doing that, it's good for you to approach the wife.
Okay.
Even if the wife is, no matter what is going on between husband and wife, you can still approach the wife.
The wife.
Talk to the wife about it. I believe the wife would have a way of speaking to the husband. And if the thing is becoming much and nobody is listening, church also has hierarchy.
Yeah.
You can find a father in the Lord who would come over to speak to this pastor.
True.
Yeah. So the wife will be able to approach a father in the Lord to speak to them, or, to speak to the man if it's getting, so much and is affecting the church. And the wife is trying to speak and the man is not listening. So you can take a move and go to your father in the Lord to say it.
Okay. That's a good one. So I know you mentioned quite a few things about people can seek, when they're going through domestic violence, they can seek they can seek help from the local, wherever they live, their local authority. But I don't know if there is more you want to say
About
that
that.
about that, because my question now is that what practical step can a victim take if they are considering leaving, an abusive relationship?
Okay, thank you very much for that question.
Welcome.
There's something we call safety plan.
Okay.
So with safety plan, so the first thing is to draw a form of safety plan so that in the whole process, this person is not injured.
Okay, safety plan.
Because once a man discovers that the wife is about or the partner is about to run away, or any abuser finds out that his victim is about to run away, then it becomes more violent.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why the safety plan is important.
Safety plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Number one, make sure phones are not connected.
Hey.
Yeah.
Some people are how would the person know that the phone is not connected?
The person would have known. The person would have known because the abuser would have mentioned it at some point that, yeah, why did you talk to that person? Why did you send this message to that person? So she would have known.
I think there is a lady that had that experience before. I think everything is okay now.
Yeah.
Yeah, the husband will say, why are you talking to that person? If she goes to the mall to go and buy something, the husband is always monitoring her all over the place.
Yeah, so that is number one. Number two, every borough really has a women's aid branch.
Branch, yeah.
And they can approach them.
What about people that are not here?
People that are not here, you mean they are not in the country?
In their country, or they're in another country?
They are in another country. Thank you. People that are in another country, there are also agencies who work in Nigeria, for example. We work in Nigeria too.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so we work in Nigeria as well. Yes, so there are different so what they just need to look for is to look for an agency that can help them.
Okay.
Yeah, in Nigeria, people can run to their pastors. At least I've seen pastors sending witness notes that they tried with a couple and the man has never yielded, and they are happy to stand as a witness.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, so they can run to their pastors and just say, something is going on with them. That's why it's good to go. You must have a way of reporting this matter because it's never going to stop. It's never going to stop. And the first thing is for the victim to look for a father figure. Look for a father figure that you can talk to. If the father figure is not responding or whatever is doing is not, making enough sense, that's when you begin to, but from the initial stage, even before that thing will get to the stage of living, I always say prevention is better than cure. If they talk out on time, the marriage can still, sustain. You can still, so, but if they don't talk on time, if they talk immediately at a time when they can come in and tell this person sharply, you don't did this to a woman, if they correct the abuser very early, I feel the marriage can still survive. But at a time when it has now dug into many years and the man has turned himself to, I don't know, so terror. It becomes to a terror. Yeah. So it becomes very difficult at that stage. But at an early stage, I think it's good so that immediately they can caution this person. Don't this to a woman, So I believe, the marriage can still last if there's intervention. Early intervention is really good. Early intervention is good. Yeah.
As we were talking, Pastor, the story of this lady just came to my mind now. This Osinachi lady. Yeah, I know the husband has been sentenced. I think they gave him death warrant or something like that. But the issue is that, there are still some people that are going through this domestic violence. And they will be saying that, oh, in our church, they keep telling us you cannot leave, continue to pray, continue to fast. And they are there. Even when the husband point a gun on their head, they are fasting, they are praying.
Yeah.
And people see what is going on. They are still in that situation.
Okay.
How do we address that?
Okay. Number one, when it comes to the case of this lady we're talking about, I
Yeah.
don't want to believe that their pastors did not say anything.
No, I'm not believing
They
that
may not even be aware.
because they're saying the pastors they are listing that they said the marriage they said they should not leave the marriage, they should pray. I'm now saying this in a general context now. I know that one is gone now, but the story just came back to me. There might still be some people in that situation, because we're talking about why are they not living. There are still some people that are thinking about the children, and they're saying that, okay, in our church, they've been telling us, you know what, there is no, prayer, there is nothing prayer cannot do. I believe that 100%. But this thing keep going, because you mentioned that now, you see, it's better to seek early intervention before the person turn to monster. Because somebody that eats you today, and you say, oh, sorry, I didn't know, darling. Sorry, I didn't know. It could be the other way around. Some women too. I've seen a woman sitting on top of the husband, eating the husband. And I was like, is this a woman? God have mercy. You understand? So it could be the other way around. And the husband will be saying that, okay, things will be better. After all, we're a believer. We go to church. Or it could be, they might not even be a believer. They might be the parent, because their own parents, they have a good relationship. I've seen some parents as well that said, you know what, your daddy did that. So just bottle it, everything will be okay. And at the end of the day, the end result wasn't good. So people in that category, how do we help them?
Yeah, people in the category where the level of abuse is already high. Now there's a lot of enlightenment. At a time we do not have this much enlightenment, but now people know that they can live. Some people are living more now than before. So if anyone is in that stage, yes, you encourage the person to leave. Because I always say, you don't know when this person will just go. Like the person, they can do something to this person and you will never see her or him any longer. And you don't want that to be the state of someone, especially in the church. So you encourage them when you have seen it and you see this is going on. You just let them know you can leave. You don't have to stay. Because if anyone stays in a place where they are giving them injuries every time, I don't think they need to tell anyone before they leave at this stage. A lot of people are aware that they can leave. So if there's anyone going through, and the person early intervention did not work, or the person has missed the stage of early intervention, we have people who have undergone this for 15, 20 years, Yeah, we have people who have undergone 15, 20 years, and there's no solution. Then they will know there can never be a solution. If there's no solution in 15 years, there can never be a solution. And they don't even need to wait for these 15 years. So some people are there really thinking of their children. And if they're thinking of their children, you always want to ask, do you still want to be a mother to your children? Or you want another person to come and mother them? Because, life before marriage, you must be alive to be married.
That's true.
You cannot be dead and be married. So you choose life. So it's a matter of, I lay before you life and death. Which one do you want to choose?
Life.
You choose life. Life comes before marriage.
Before marriage.
Yes. So the person doesn't want to be married and be dead. So like once dead, there's nothing anymore. So the children that they are waiting to take care of at the end of the day is somebody else that will do it.
They'll do it.
Yeah. So if the person just knows that this thing is so grievous, then just leave.
So Lizzie, remember you said something about we've talked about the children, and I like the way you said that. Okay, if they don't leave, another person will father the children, another person will mother the children. So how do we now help the children that have been in these environments, now growing up, seeing that, okay, all the days of their life since primary school up till they get to university stage is just abusive environment, and these children grew up in that kind of environment. So for the children's sake now, how do we help these children? Because it's a pattern now. A lot of people don't believe in pattern. I believe in pattern because any boy that sees his father eating the mother, you understand, or any whatever, it could be the other way around, it could be the mother talking anyhow to the father, the same thing, the pattern will go. So for that pattern not to continue, how can these children be helped in this kind of environment?
Okay, thank you very much. It's a very dangerous thing for children to witness their parents, mother or father, being abused. It is not a good thing. And why is it not good? It's not good because this thing can affect their own destiny. Unfortunately, you have lots of men or women that have been abused or witnessed abuse, and they will end up abusing too.
Yeah.
And the point is, they wouldn't even realize that they're doing it. It's as bad as that. But when you listen to their stories, you listen to them, and some of them will begin to say, oh, their father did this to their mother, and they don't want to do it, but they find themselves doing it. That's why I said it's very dangerous for children. Because when they grow with this, unfortunately, they begin to exhibit the traits as well. So the children need to be guarded. The children need to understand that this is domestic abuse and it is not right. They need to understand that it is not right, and they also need to be taught or trained. I have a lady who tells her son, let me say son, who trained her son. I remember her telling me that she normally tells her son that don't ever lift your finger against a girl.
Wonderful.
So which means from the onset, whatever is going on, this boy knows don't touch women, no matter what. If there's anything that is going wrong, go and report this girl. But don't touch this girl. So what I'm trying to say is that children need to be trained, especially those who have witnessed abuse. Yeah, especially those of them, because unfortunately, when they grow up, they begin to think that the only good way is the way, or the only way is what their parents are doing or they've done. The way the husband handled, the way the father handled his mom, he could think maybe this is the only way. So it's it's an unfortunate thing. So when you see children who have witnessed abuse, there's a form of counseling. They can also go through counseling. The mother needs to go through counseling. The children also need to go through counseling. Yeah.
Okay. What if the abuse is outside the home?
Outside the home, in what sense? Because we're talking about
maybe they are living with uncle. Some children, some especially African people, they allow their children to live with uncles, aunties, to live with outsider. What if the abuse is coming from that angle, not even necessarily their parents?
Thank you for that. So they need to run to a trusted person and speak out. The thing is just about speaking out. So they need to run to someone, a trusted person, and speak to them.
Mm.
A lot of people went through abuse and they had no one to report to. It's when they've grown old, they will now say, oh, well, it's 20 years ago, 50 years ago, when they'll begin. And who will be, before anybody will believe that kind of a story, it takes a while. So this day, you don't need to wait until you are 50 or 70. If there's anything, yeah, the children can run to your mother in the Lord in the church, run to your parents, go and talk to your parents. I am aware, I've also heard of people, probably mothers or fathers, who would think, oh, their brothers can never do this, keep short, don't
Yeah.
do, don't talk about their brother like this, don't talk about their sister like this. Obviously we've heard about all of those. If this young girl knows that the mother wouldn't believe, then there are other options. Look for trusted people and run there to say something, so that at least they can deliver. They can deliver. You have heard of the story of, I heard someone came from Nigeria, was staying in the house of this couple. The children were there. The couple will run to church, do night vigil. They will leave the child with a person from Nigeria. They will think, oh, there's somebody at home, and they will leave the child there so that, oh, she can sleep on time, this, while they go to church. And then the person will abuse the child. I've heard of that kind of story before. So if the girl does not speak out, how would the parents know? And if the parents are the kind that once the girl speaks out, they would, they want to exactly just run to somebody else and say something out. You don't want to stay until you are 50 because the trauma keeps following them around. That's the problem. They become very traumatic, very, very traumatic. Some even, go as much as experiencing mental illness and all of that. Yes, or because they have no one to talk to, they couldn't stop it, they had no one to talk to. So because of all of that, you don't want to waste the destiny of any child. So the child should run to a trusted person. Just go there and talk.
True. Thank you, Pastor. So, if there is one thing you would like our audience to remember about domestic abuse victim, what will that be?
Okay, thank you very much. Number one, I would like to talk to men.
Okay.
Because they are, even though women abuse, men also abuse, but you find higher statistics with men. And this is because of, the muscles and all of that, because people believe because they have more muscles than the women, then the rate is higher with them, So because of that, I want to talk to the men. Number one, I want to plead on behalf of women. Don't treat women anyhow. It's not good. It's not good. Think about this. The girl is also the child of somebody.
True.
She was brought up by someone. So I want to plead, take care of your wife. Be compassionate and be kind to your wife. So that's the first thing I want this audience to know. Be compassionate and be kind to your wife. So that is one. And then to the victim. You do not have to live in abuse. From the onset, I have said that early intervention is very useful, is very beneficial. You can stop it by yourself. From the onset, you don't need to experience it for a long time. It takes a lot to stop when it's taking a toll on you. So you can stop by, let me give you an example. You can tell someone you are not happy with the way that they are treating you. You can say, this is what it makes you to feel. It's good for you to have mouth and to be able to use your mouth to talk. Except when you talk and they beat you, that's a different story entirely. But if you talk and they are not, you use your mouth to tell somebody you are not happy with something.
Yeah.
We are all human beings created by God. It is not disrespect to tell someone this is the way you feel when they treat you like this. That's not disrespect. God says women should respect, but disrespect does not mean that you're telling someone the way you feel. You can tell someone when you say negative words to me outside in front of people, this is the way I feel. So you can make your corrections. You can make your corrections. You can tell people, you can talk, use your mouth to talk. Say what you do not like. And say, just like you want to be respected, say it in a respected way, that this is the way you feel. Now, if you have now complained or you've tried to say all of this and the man is not yielding, that you can take the next step, go and report to a father figure. Don't allow this to take a toll on you. Don't leave it for a very long time. Our parents went through that. You don't have to go through that. The world is more enlightened on this topic than before. And so it's better from the onset. When you see something, say it immediately. Just say, this is the way you feel. Because at the end of the day, this can be the solution to a lifelong problem. Yeah.
Thank you, Pastor Lizzie, for sharing your knowledge and experience and valuable insight with us today. As we conclude, I hope this conversation has helped our viewer understand that domestic abuse is far more complex than many people realize. Victims are not weak, foolish, or choosing to remain in harmful situations. Often they are facing fear, control, isolation, and challenges that many of us cannot fully imagine. If you are watching today and you are experiencing abuse, please know that you are not alone. Your life matters. Seek help. Your safety matter. That is that from us for today. Thank you to everyone. And thank you once more to my wonderful Pastor Lizzie. God bless you, ma.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.